Hey, what is up everyone? Season 14 is here, and with it brings a brand new Plunder Pass for us to explore. So in this video I'm going to give you my thoughts on everything that we have for this season's Plunder Pass, and let me know in the comments below what you think about what we're getting. This season's Plunder Pass I like a lot. So far, just everything I've seen, I think it's a step up from the past couple Plunder Passes that we've had, and I'm really excited to start unlocking these things. So right off the bat, Plunder Pass is about 1,000 ancient coins, and you'll get about 750 ancient coins with the Plunder Pass, plus another 250 with the free pass. So altogether, if you buy the Plunder Pass and you don't spend any of the ancient coins that you earn from the season, then you'll be able to keep buying it over and over again following from there. Just getting that out of the way, I know there's usually questions about that each season. Now, starting out at level 1, we have the Inner Sanctum Hole. The hole is very basic, it's very similar to stuff that you'd see in the shipwright shop and stuff. Nothing too special going on with this, but you know, it's just a hole, not much you can really do with it. At level 10 we get the Inner Sanctum Cannon Flare. This cannon flare, I feel like the animation is a little bit too long in some ways, that it just kind of lingers for too long, so it might be harder to shoot with it. But I do think it's a pretty cool one. It has a nice animation despite being slow. And while I can't really see from the other side, it basically looks like a hand, like a ghostly hand coming through when you're shooting at the opponent, which I think is really cool. It basically kind of looks like you're like one of the ghost ships when you're doing like the ghost fleet and stuff in the game. So you can kind of make your ship act like that, which I think is super cool. At level 13, we have the Inner Sanctum Capstan. At first, I actually didn't really care for this capstan because when I looked at the thumbnail for this, it looked very basic. But then I realized when you can actually see it in game, it is really cool. It basically has like this bubbling surface to it that's in the inside. And if there's any way to really describe it, it's kind of like a big cauldron where it's like this green oozy goo inside with like bubbles popping out from it. And I think that just is really cool. I think it can go really well with like a Halloween spooky type set. And I'm really excited for that. The rest of the capstan is fine, and I was kind of, a little disappointed with it when I first saw the thumbnail of it, but actually seeing it, like how it looks in game, I'm a lot more enthusiastic about it. So that's pretty cool. Moving on, we have at level 20, we have the Inner Sanctum Belt. I think the belt looks fine. For me personally, I don't really like the big bulky belts like this too much, so I don't really typically use these, but I think it will go well with the rest of the set. So let's keep looking around and see what else will go along with this. At level 23 we have the Inner Sanctum Flag. Nothing too special with this one. It has an interesting symbol on it, I guess, but I don't really find this remarkable at all. It doesn't really stand out as a premium item to me. At level 30 we have the Inner Sanctum Wheel. This one doesn't have as much going on with it as compared to like the capstan that we looked at earlier, but I still think it's aesthetically pretty pleasing and I like the look of it. Don't know if I would put it at the top of my list in terms of like my wheels that I like to use, but I think it is a nice one. At level 40 you have the Inner Sanctum Figurehead. Now usually the basic figurehead in the Plunder Passes usually aren't that good. This time I think we actually got a pretty good figurehead with this, where it's basically like a hanging ornament that's all glowing and stuff, and I think that looks pretty cool. I still have my complaints about having collector's versions and regular versions in the Plunder Pass, which we'll talk about at the end of the video, but in general I think they did a pretty good job with this figurehead in particular. At level 50 we have the Inner Sanctum Hat, which is basically more of a mask in my opinion. It does have a hat component to it, but the main thing you're looking at with this is the mask, where you have like the horns and everything going along with it. Personally to me, I really don't know how much I'll be using this. I might use it a little bit when I first unlock it, but afterwards I can't really imagine myself wanting to use it too much. I think it is an interesting looking one. I think I prefer some of the masks that are earnable in game. We already had a few that were unlockable before, and now we have a few more added with this season that you can unlock from the Outpost shop. So definitely check that out. If you're buying the pass for this, I would maybe look at some of the other options before you make your decision. But there are definitely some cool cosmetics outside of this in the Plunder Pass that make it all worth it, in my opinion. At level 60 we have the Inner Sanctum Cannons. These cannons are fine looking, but for me I probably will never use them, mainly because of the lipped edge at the end, and I prefer having a flat barrel with a sight on it. So for this one I just will never use it, just because it's not going to be as good for aiming. It doesn't look like the lip is that big for this, but I still just don't think, for me, I'd personally like to use it. At level 70 we have the Inner Sanctum Sails, very similar to what we got with the flag, very unremarkable to me. I think If I wasn't so positive about some of the other stuff that's in this pass, this would bring it down a lot more in my opinion, because the biggest complaint that I have with some of the plunder passes that we have, and we'll talk about more, like I said at the end, with the regular versus collectors thing going on with the plunder passes, but if you look at this cosmetic on its own and say that this is a premium cosmetic inside the Pirate Emporium, which it eventually will be after the season's over, I cannot look at this and say, oh yeah, that is definitely a premium cosmetic that I need to spend extra money for. It just isn't. When I look at this, it looks like something that would be inside the regular shipwright shop. It doesn't look like a premium item to me. And I think we see that a lot. We saw that kind of with the hole at the beginning. There's not too much that you can do with holes, so I'm a little bit less harsh on those. But with sails, there's a lot you can do with sails to make them very premium, but I think these sails kind of fail that. What I will say though is I think if you replace these sails with, say, the Black Pearl sails that we have in the game, that would be a really cool ship combo with kind of all the other ship components that we have with this set. You mix that in with the Black Pearl sails, and I think you have a pretty cool set right there. Moving on to level 80, we have an interesting one with the Inner Sanctum jacket. So this jacket actually is like glowing and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. I like having the kind of the ghostly look with this. The color choices are a little bit odd to me. I don't really think they go as well together. It's supposed to kind of give you a very ghostly look to it though, so I kind of understand it. It is a little ironic to me that for this Plunder Pass they have a lot of things that are like glowing and stuff, which we saw with the figurehead and then this. And this is the season that's supposed to be like all like the sneaking around and tucking and stuff, which typically when you're like sneaking around and tucking and everything, you want to wear dark clothing, you want to have your ship like dark so that they don't see you approaching as easily. So I just found it a little ironic. Nothing against this Plunder Pass or anything, just thought I'd mention that because I thought it was kind of funny that the season they chose to give us all the glowing cosmetics for the Plunder Pass is the season that you want to be like kind of stealthy. But looking at the jacket on its own, I think it's pretty cool. I like all the kind of the rips that show like the ghostly inside of it and everything. I wish we got more with this set. We got the mask, we got the belt, and we got this. But there's no pants to go with it, no boots to go with it. It would be nice to get like a hook or something with this as well. But that's one of the complaints I have with having the clothing items in the Plunder Pass instead of, say, like what we used to get with the full outfits. Because I felt like that was a complete outfit that I could wear. Whereas this, like, I feel like we're only getting half the items than we're supposed to be getting, which is a bit disappointing to me. Moving on, at level 90, this by far is probably one of my favorite cosmetics they've ever put in the Plunder Pass. And it's honestly the main reason I'm getting this Plunder Pass for this season. I typically get the Plunder Pass most seasons, but this season specifically is the thing I'm looking forward to getting. This is the Inner Sanctum Collector's figure that's unlocked at level 90. This is really cool. It's like the gates to hell, essentially, where you have like two gargoyles, I believe those are gargoyles, sitting on either side of the figurehead with this portal in the middle where you have like these ghostly hands trying to like claw out of wherever they're coming from. And that all together I think just looks really epic in my opinion. One of the things that makes me think of when I'm looking at this is the new wheel that we have for the Pirate Emporium. They have like a new set in the Pirate Emporium, of course, with this update. And they have the wheel that has like this kind of portal in the middle that's like a purplish portal. It looks really cool. I would have loved for this Plunder Pass to have a wheel that's similar to that, but just have it like this ghostly green color as like the portal instead of like the red. And then that would have made the wheel look a lot better in my opinion and really step up this Plunder Pass. But on its own, this collector's figurehead is the main reason I'm getting this pass because I think it just looks super epic. Then finally at level 100 we have the Inner Sanctum Collector's sails. These sails are fine. I don't really have any complaints with them. I do think it's kind of similar to what we had with the previous sails where it's like, is this really a premium cosmetic? When I look at this, I could also see this being something that's found in the shipwright and just earnable in game. So there's nothing really here that's screaming to me that it's like an extra premium cosmetic. That's my thoughts on it. I don't have a problem with it. I'll probably use it when I use the figurehead and stuff, but nothing here is really wowing me with the sails. So with that, I think we can go ahead and talk about my issues with the collector's stuff in the Plunder Pass. I think both of the collector's items, specifically with the figurehead, are great this season. I even think that the regular version of the figurehead in this pass is pretty good too. Usually I think they've had in the past where the basic version of the figure that we get in the Plunder Pass is very similar to the collector's version. Obviously the collector's version is a little bit better, so usually it becomes a thing of like wasted space, and that's the biggest problem that I have. If they wanted to give us both of these things and then additional stuff on top of it in the Plunder Pass, I really wouldn't have much complaint about it. But what I see is 2 spots in a very limited amount of spaces that we have to get cosmetics in the Plunder Pass, and it's wasted on stuff that we'll probably never use because we have the collector's versions. Instead of getting another figurehead and another sail that are not as good as the ones that we're unlocking in the past, I would rather get something like emotes, or weapon cosmetics, or just anything else really. We used to get emotes in the Plunder Pass, which I really liked. I don't necessarily need more emotes this time. I would really like to get weapon cosmetics that go along with the set, because think about, like, they could do some really cool weapon cosmetics for this Inner Sanctum set. I think there's a nice theme here that would go really well with some cool weapon cosmetics. Think about having like a throwing knife where the blade is like a ghostly looking blade that matches what we saw with the figurehead. That would just be really cool on its own. Sadly, we're not getting anything like that. I think the Plunder Passes have become a little bit too formulaic as of late, where basically every season it's, 2 sails, 2 figureheads, couple clothing pieces but not the full clothing set, and then just the rest of the ship set. Nothing's really done that's interesting with it. We had season 12 that tried to push it a little bit further with the curse being added, but I think that kind of backfired on them because so many people were upset about having curses in the game that were bought and not earnable. So I don't know if they're going to keep doing that in the future, but I think really just adding weapon cosmetics and maybe some emotes into the Plunder Pass would really just make it a lot better in my opinion. But those are my thoughts on the Plunder Pass. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this Plunder Pass, whether or not you're going to get it, and what's your favorite item in the pass. I'm also probably going to make a video talking about the regular season pass this time, because there's just some cosmetics in there that I think are really good. I think they did a really good job with the free pass this time. So keep a lookout for that video, that should be coming soon. But that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, it'd be great if you like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye y'all.